Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section here for this ET142 from Simgot, the Tangzu Zetian, the Legend, and the Kiwiears Aether. I apologize, I said that Kiwiears, it was the first planar from Kiwiears. It's not actually that they've had another model, which is the Melody, which was a 12mm planar, and kind of fell very much into the forget drawer. And well, I apologize for that. And also with regards to the timeless, my apologies, to the Tangzu, I mentioned that it was the first dual planar IEM, when in fact Campfire was the one that actually did that for the very first time, although obviously at a completely different price point. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into this and get it over and done with. I'm going to show you the Simgot to start with. Let me just take away these graphs here, which are not doing anything here. Okay, all right. So the Simgot. Simgot, where are we? There we go. Okay, so the Simgot, we have those now short nozzles that they've offered. There is the short nozzle with the red O-ring, and then there's a the short nozzle with the black O-ring. This is the one with the red O-ring, and as I mentioned in the review, you have that initial pin again that peaks at 2, and then you have this big dip here, and then another peak at 8 for the coupler. Okay, and then that's very much the PZT over there. And then you have the short nozzle, but with the black O-ring, which is the one that I actually had on the ET142. Now, in essence, the dip on one and on the other is basically the same. I mean, if you look carefully, and if you take that point there, and then you take the lowest point, it's about a 6 dB difference. And if you do the same thing on the other one, you take that one, and then you take the lowest point, we're talking about the same 6 dB difference. Okay. Now, what is different is that obviously the one with the black O-ring is a little bit more energetic, and by being a little bit more energetic, the overall way or perception that you get of the sound on the black O-ringed short nozzle is that it's a little bit more opened, while on the red O-ringed, which is the blue line here, it sounds just slightly darker, or more darker. Forgive my English. And for some reason you perceive more the PZT's presence with that nozzle, or at least I perceived it more than I did with the black nozzle. Sorry, with the black O-ringed nozzle. If I take that point that I like considering, which is the 100 hertz, you can see that in both cases, although it's corresponding to a frequency which is below 2K, which isn't usually the ideal with planars, I guess we can assume things in a slightly different manner, but the reality is not just that point here that's important, it's how that the frequency above that point then is handled. And like I said, with the black O-ring nozzle, which is the brown line, let me just remove the other one, the overall way that the sound comes across is more open. You get that planar goodness without any of that harshness or excessive energy or whatever. As I mentioned, I did my own nozzle as well. Let me just put here this with a different color black. I did my own nozzle, which is the beauty of the ET142, is you can actually make your own tuning. And with my own nozzle, this is the response that I got. So I kind of did slightly away with this peak here that wasn't really bugging me, and I plateaued the response. And if I actually put the first one on, you can actually see. So it kind of it goes and fetches the response after the 2K peak of the black O-ring nozzle. Okay, just removes that peak. And for me, for my ears, the way that it sounds for me personally is it's the best. I mean, it's like I said, you don't really, I can't say that I really perceived a significant difference here between the stock short nozzle with the black O-ring or my nozzle, you know, which is the longer one, tuned to my liking. I can't really say that this area I was picking up on a difference. What I did pick up on my nozzle is that it just sounded slightly more coherent. That's the only thing, okay? And trust me, I mean, it's a very slight difference. Anyway, again, I think the beauty on the ET142 is the fact that you can actually do the tuning that you want and enjoy the tuning that you want, adjust it and get the best out of it, you know, in whichever manner you feel. So let me just take this way out. We're just going to leave that there. Let me show you now the timeless, no, not the timeless, sorry, the Tangzu, which is the Tangzu Simgot, yes, yeah, there we go, the Tangzu, the Zetian Wu, the legend. That's the Zetian Wu. Again, and as I mentioned as well, as you can see that they're very similar to it's very similar to the ET142 with the black nozzle or black O-ring nozzle, okay? The difference that exists here is that you then have that second planar driver, which confers an audible amount of extra detail, not only in this 5 to 7, 8K area, but also above, okay? And yes, definitely the balance, or, you know, you're listening to, let's just take away this one. You listen to the Tangzu, and the reality is that it sounds phenomenal. It sounds really, really good. But you listen to it, and you definitely can feel that there's a lot more energy in terms of detail and extension and so on than when compared to all the other hybrids that I had here. That's very noticeable. And because you have all that extra energy, okay, which can be you know, more satisfying to some and less so to others. It's all very much a subjective thing. You feel the bass that comes across seems slightly colder, when in reality it isn't. As I just showed you, I mean, compared here to the Simgot, is exactly the same. Again, I'll repeat the differences between the planars. While on a DD, yes, the DD driver diaphragm, the DD implementation is more affected by ultimately how it's put into the shell. On a planar, it's safe to say that yes, the shell and the tuning will affect its tuning, its overall tuning, but because the planar drivers are basically always the same planar driver, with a very slight, minute difference between them. It's not like you have a beryllium coated planar driver and then you have a carbon nanotube coated, or then a DLC coated, or whatever. It's basically always the same planar driver, slightly bigger, slightly smaller. I mean, 14.2, 14.5, even to 14.8. That's too small of a difference to really be significant. And even this newer one from Kiwiears, this 15.3, you know, I wasn't able to get any information concerning the actual diaphragm area, and I also don't have any concrete diaphragm area information about other planar drivers, but I'm sure that it won't be very different. Actually, if you guys might recall, when KZ came out with its 13.5 or 13.6, they themselves were saying that the difference in the actual area of the diaphragm of that driver was slightly smaller. I mean, the difference was minimal compared to the more conventional planar drivers. So it is safe to assume that yes, if it's maybe a 10 or a 12 millimeter, and then you're comparing it with a 14 point something or a 15, that yes, there will be a noticeable diaphragm diameter or diaphragm area difference. But when you're comparing 14.5, 14.2, 14.8, the differences there, 15.3, the differences there are going to be very difficult, in my opinion, to actually come across. But anyway, continuing here with the Tangzu, as you can see, the bass, you know, really good, mids phenomenal. It's just that this area here is energetic. No doubts about it. No way. Nothing. It's got loads of energy up there, up top. And now, yes, the Kiwiears. Let me show you the Kiwiears. And that one in red, which I just placed, is the Kiwiears, the Ether. And the Kiwiears, again, as you can see, same sort of bass, same sort of pin again, like the Tangzu, roughly until about 8K, it, comes across very much the same thing. But then you don't have that second driver there giving it all that extra energy up top. And so what you get in the Ether is a more kind of organic, more overall, I guess, pleasant, smoother sounding planar reproduction compared, and let me just put here quickly the MP142, the ET142, and as you can see again, I mean, guys, trust me, the differences are not significant. All right, now quickly some of the others that I had here. So this is the MP145, one of the sets that I have. I've actually got 3 sets, and again it follows that philosophy of the not so accentuated 2K area, and then it's very smooth across the board. It's surprising because it's got a lot of energy past 10K, but it doesn't you don't have that perception when you listen to it, okay? And when you take it and compare it, for example, to something like the Kiwiears, you can see there's a lot of similarities there. A lot of similarities between the Kiwiears and the Hidizs compared with the Tangzu. Again, very much similar. The difference being that the Hidizs does not sound as energetic up top here as what you would maybe perceive or conclude from looking just at the graph. Okay. Another one of the IEMs that really actually, let me just make sure I don't erase here anything that I shouldn't be erasing. So I can take away this one here. I can take away my one, I guess, not needed really. Okay, the Timeless. Yes, Timeless, number 12. Okay, that's the Timeless. Comparing it with the Hidizs, the MP145. Okay, but I'm going to compare it is with the Kiwiears. Again, very similar, very similar. In the case of the Timeless, yes, you do notice that it does have quite a bit more energy up top. Well, quite a bit. Maybe it's not the correct choice of words, but a noticeable amount of extra energy up top. It just comes across ever so slightly more energetic, okay, than the Kiwiears, but not a big difference. I mean, they are once again they are very similar. Okay. Let me show you now the Letshuoer, the S15. Let me just put here the different color on it. Okay, so this is the Letshuoer, the S15. I'm going to take away here the Timeless 2. The Letshuoer, the S15, very similar in its overall graph, once more, to the Kiwiears, and the overall sound again is not that different. Okay, that's the reality. It's not that different. Maybe a few things here and there. The S15's got just an extra slight more amount of detail, but very similar. That's the truth. Another one is here, the P20 from Shozy. Let me just take away the Kiwiears. The P20 from Shozy is one of those gems that just has gone under the radar. And just for you guys to see what I've said countless times, that it was, when I reviewed it, that it was basically the same thing as the Hidizs. Okay, I'm just going to put the Hidizs here in black so you guys can see. Okay, so this is the Hidizs and that's the Shozy. Honestly, I mean, seriously, is there anybody that can honestly tell me that if you listen to these two IEMs, you're going to tell them apart in a significant manner? I don't think so. I can't. I personally cannot tell them apart. And the Shozy, I've seen it at LINSOUL at $70, down from its $130 price. Or so when you think $70, I mean, and performing like a proper beast, you can't go too wrong. That's why when I get questions like I got, so what's the ultimate top of the line planar and so on and so forth, well, you have to consider a number of factors, and if you take price into account, for example, and that's a major thing, I mean, the Shozy P20 can be considered maybe an ultimate planar IEM because it performs like a beast, and the fact you can pick it up for this amount of money, I mean, honestly. And finally the Artti, the T10, another IM which I think it's an absolute beast. Let me just take away the others here so we can see things more clearly. So that's the Artti T10 Pro. What can I say? Phenomenal IM. I mentioned that it was very similar in its presentation to the timeless, and let me just quickly put here the timeless so you guys can see. Let me just change the color of the timeless again to black. Number 12. That's the timeless and the T10 Pro. Guys, okay, T10 Pro, T10 Pro and timeless. T10 Pro, T10 Pro and timeless 2, of course. Seriously, I can't focus, or I cannot repeat this enough. The differences are minimal, people, minimal. Okay, trust me, minimal. And that's that, guys. Just a quick one here is the Raptgo, the Hook X14. Okay, that's the Raptgo Hook X graph with that other way of doing that tuning, which is peaking slightly at this 2K, making it a little bit more forward, making the vocals maybe come out a little bit more as an emphasis, and then comparing it with the Simgot, the ET142, with the short black O-ringed nozzle. There we go. Very, very similar, as you can see. However, the execution of the PZT in the Simgot has been done in a milder manner, and the overall perception that you get is that it just it's not that the Hook X sounded shrill or sounded aggressive. No, you can't say that. But you notice that there's something extra there, adding to the whole equation, okay, to the whole performance of the earphone. And on the ET142 with this specific nozzle, I personally could not pick up on that. I picked up as just one single cohesive driver, which is ultimately what you want. You want an IM, be it a planar, be it a hybrid, be it whatever it is, to be as much as possible a single source of sound. That's why you're now seeing a lot of the IMs now, they're coming out, especially from TRN and so on, coming out with all these stacked, coaxially mounted stacked drivers, and the idea there is to have the sound coming out of a one single source. That's where coincident source drivers were made famous. I mean, I'm talking about Tannoy and I'm talking about Kef. They were the precursors and the leaders in that sort of technology, because by having them mounted in that manner, you can do away, or you can better control issues of time delay and so on. It's just a question of them matching properly the different drivers that are doing the different part of the frequencies that you want them to do. Anyway, that's it, guys. Like I said, these three IMs are phenomenal. That's the ET142 for you guys. I'm just going to leave you here the Zetian, the Legend, and put here as well the Kiwiears. As you can see, any one of the three has got an agreeable graph, I would say. The advantage of the ET142 is the fact that you can adjust the tuning to whatever maybe suits you more or pleases you more, like I personally myself did, and in my version I did away completely with the speak, so it even comes out similar or more equal to the Zetian and to the Kiwiears. Of the three, which one is ultimately the best? Difficult one to say, because I like all three, but I think the one that will be the most agreeable for most people, if they don't want to mess around, will definitely be the Kiwiears. And if you are willing to play around a little bit with the nozzles and adjust it and tune it to yourself, to your own personal taste, then definitely the Simgot, the ET142 is the most makes sense out of them. In terms of the accessories, like I mentioned as well, the ET142 comes with that beautiful LC7 cable, the Tangzu as well. It's got a very nice cable. It's just the Kiwiears that also has the least capable cable, at least visually, but then again that reflects itself in the price, while the others are in the $220 to $230 price point. This one is $180, give or take. And that's that. All right, guys, as always, like and subscribe. If there's any questions you have, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. You take care now. Bye bye.